Happy Friday, newsies. It is I, Becca Lori Hector here, and I am back with the new and improved Neurodiversity Newsstand. Well, that's sort of I don't know, a fudge. I don't know if it's improved. I have no idea. But I have the new kind of revamped, refangled Neurodiversity Newsstand ready for you guys today. This is my first go at it. We'll see how it goes. If you like it, what else you want to see, that's also what today is for. So, we'll just see, I guess. Oh, I'm very wordy today. Oh, such a wordsmith. Anyway, I am here in my office and I am actually recording this on Thursday. I know, I'm sorry, but I really needed a day off, like entirely off. And the only thing that I had to do on this Friday was record this. And so I'm recording it early on Thursday for me for a day off. So as you're watching this on Friday, know that I am out enjoying a day off and away from the office. And be happy for me because I'm happy. Oh, I need it. All right, you guys. So here are my thoughts on Neurodiversity Newsstand. As I had mentioned last week, news has been bleh, slow, nothing really going on. We've now hit the usual slow news time on top of the fact that the world is on pause. So we are limited in our news. And so I'm thinking about Neurodiversity Newsstand and thinking about the stuff that I could be doing with Newsstand. What else could I use it for? We all kind of like enjoy meeting up once a week for the community of it all. And so how could we not lose that, but still address the fact that it's time to pivot because news is slow. So here's what I decided. I decided I'm going to focus on kind of one important topic in the community, that's sort of current topic in the community. And then focus on that one topic, give you guys some information about it, talk about it a little bit. And then I also got requests for book reviews and I got requests for podcast reviews and people who still want the events and the resources. So I'm going to do that stuff too. I'm going to try out different segments, different things I want to share with you. And see what we can do. I think reviews might be further apart, but I will at least share with you books that I'm reading or I'm interested about on a weekly basis. So that's what we're going to do. Let's try it out. Let's see how it feels. Let's try it on for size. Just so that you guys know, I have been battling a migraine for the last 2 days. So I'm going to try and keep my energy up and stay positive as I do this today. But I also am just so tired. So the pain of it has sort of gone away, but now I'm just tired, which happens, and I need to rest. But not without addressing my peoples, not without bringing the news to you on a Friday. I had to make sure that I got that in. So let's start. Welcome to the new Neurodiversity Newsstand. This week's topic, we are going to talk about Matthew Rushin. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with the story, but you are about to be. I'm going to give you the basics of the story, what's going on, some of the moving parts and pieces, and then I'm just going to leave you to stew with it. And I want you to share your opinions on it with me in the comments. Send them to me via email. Use the contact sheet on my website, whatever your choice may be. But I want to know how you're feeling about it too. So let's make it a conversation. Matthew Rushin. Here's how we go. I'm basing this off of a news story that I saw in the Washington Post. Oh, and of course, everything that I reference, as usual, will be in the description here. I'm not going to change that part. I still want you guys to be able to see the information that I'm talking about. So this article from the Washington Post will be in the description, and it summarizes the story as a whole to where we are now. Basically, Matthew Rushin is someone with ADHD as well as autism. He got diagnosed with both of those things earlier on in life, and then also on top of it had a traumatic brain injury. So, but he had a job and he went to college and all of these things and all the stuff that we know that autistics can do that our neurodiverse brains don't keep us from doing. And he was living his life and a very kind, loving human being. Well, he goes to do something for work. He worked at a Panera. He goes to go do his job, and suddenly he never returns home. So, of course, his mom panics, and it turns out that Matthew was in a car accident. So on his way through his travels, he On his way home, he got into an accident, and that in a parking lot, I think, and that made him really nervous. And I guess he didn't know what to do, and he panicked, and he drove out of the parking lot. And then I think he just probably felt so horrible that he just started behaving erratically, driving erratically, and then eventually hit someone head on um, and injured them as well. Um, and when he was stopped by the police and he got out of his car, he told police that he was trying to kill himself. And they actually, when they did the research, saw that he was actually going 65 miles an hour in that last accident, and did not apply the brakes. So he was actively trying to commit suicide. And I didn't say it explicitly in the story, but I'm gathering because he didn't know what to do about the previous accident that he was in. In any case, the story goes on, and Matthew was arrested at that time, put in jail, and then he awaited trial in jail. And finally, he was sentenced 50 years for 2 counts of malicious wounding and 1 count of hit and run. And of those 50 years, he must serve 10. Okay? Directly after receiving that sentence, Matthew was on the phone with his mom and asked if she would please get Thanksgiving dinner for him and his friends in his cell. There were 12 of them. So his mom understood at that point that he didn't know what had just transpired in court, and he didn't understand what his sentence was and what was going on, that wasn't something he had processed. So here we sit, all of us, and all of the evidence has been looked at, and we are in question as to whether it's really a proper punishment for Matthew to be in jail and serve 10 years of a 50-year sentence, or if his behaviors, right, were misunderstood. His way of responding to the incident was out of the norm. And so is that part of the problem? Is that why he's being served so much time? Of course, the other component for all of this is that as this was going on, or in the middle of it really, as he was getting his sentence, we've had the George Floyd incident here in the United States, which has kind of brought up the issue of race in terms of it. And Matthew is, of course, Black, on top of the fact that he is disabled. He is not the only Black disabled person to have been sentenced to an unwarrantedly long sentence. There are a couple of other cases of that are being mentioned around and in relation to the Matthew Rushin case. But I think it's important that we all know that this is going on, and that when autism and neurodiversity meets the law, there is a lot of misunderstanding, and it tends to not go in favor of the autistic person. So we need to all be thinking about it. And it's become an important cause within our community. So important that Neuroclastic has begun a campaign about Matthew Rushin. They are putting out series of articles following the case. There have been 3 so far that I have followed. And the most recent was it was about the trauma that we're doing to Black and Indigenous people. Systematic trauma, of course. And then, of course, we have one that came out about the body cam footage of Matthew Rushin and the forensics data, which was the one that I found the most interesting. That's sort of my interest. And so really good article on that stuff. And then another one which talks about Matthew Rushin and the injustice system, right? And talks about what it implies and that it creates a nightmare for parents of autistics and for autistics themselves. And so those were 3 really good follow-up articles by Neuroclastic. They are heavily involved with the Matthew Rushin campaign and getting him freed and getting him proper care and treatment that we know he's not getting right now. Another group of people who have also weighed in and given a voice from the autistic community was a group call for relief for Matthew Rushin from the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network, which is ASAN, and the Autistic Women's and Non-Binary Network, which is AWN. They came together and spoke and put out a call for relief for Matthew about this issue. And so our community is involved. It's an important topic, one that is globally important, really important in the States, and of course, inherently important to the autism and neurodiversity communities. So if you didn't know about this story, I am happy to educate you on it. I'm going to share all of the articles that I talked about, including the call for relief, in the description. And if you are touched by this story, get involved. You can reach out to Neuroclastic, and you can reach out, of course, to ASAN and AWN, and get involved in the campaign to free Matthew Rushin. I will give you those links, of course, in the description. You can Google all of those things. But that, I felt like, was the story that needed a voice this week, especially on Newsstand. It's one of the ones that is actual news, and should be affecting and impacting all of us in the community. And we should all know that it's going on. So that's the news story for this week. That is the information from out in the world that is going on, that is worth talking about, worth digging into, and worth everybody knowing about. Moving along. Oh, I have to change my page. I wrote very little notes, though, you guys. I'm excited. That was fun, too, to do this do this new newsstand. All right. So blogs. I thought each week maybe I could highlight a blog or blogs that I think if you guys aren't following and if you aren't reading, you should be. This week I am going to be highlighting Spectrum Women magazine. Slightly impartial on this one, kind of maybe chose it for a reason, but I wanted to choose one that made sense for the first one. And then I want to ask for you to recommend me your favorites. I want to read what you're reading. What if I'm missing out on a good one? This way I can start to highlight the ones that you guys find really interesting, really impactful, and that aren't just my opinion of what's good. But for my opinion of what's good, I think I'm starting with Spectrum Women magazine. Why? Because it's not just a blog, it's many blogs. It is the voice of many women, trans, and non-binary folk on the interwebs, called Spectrum Women magazine. Book behind my head there, Spectrum Women book. The next one on parenting is coming out this summer. You can pre-order it now. But I wanted to highlight some of the folks that are doing regular things on Spectrum Women, because if you follow Spectrum Women magazine, you're not just getting the writings of one person, you're getting the writings of a lot of people. Because there are a bunch of us involved in it, and I love it that way. We all do. So as I encourage you to head over to Spectrum Women magazine, these are some of the highlights I want to share. We had a new article that came out this week from Maura Campbell. She is part of that parenting book that is coming out, by the way, from Ireland, and she wrote us a piece on rituals, routines, and stims. Everybody's been enjoying it. She's been sort of really busy and not able to participate for a hot bit, so when you see a piece from Maura, you get really excited. So I get excited. You should get excited. Go check out this newest piece from Maura Campbell called Rituals, Routines, and Stims. I also want to point out on Spectrum Women the regular blog, or regular column, really, I guess, by Lisa Morgan. Lisa writes, a lot of her pushes in advocacy are related to suicide and suicide prevention, and she writes from the adult perspective and about issues that she sees for the adult community on Spectrum Women. So that's Lisa Morgan's column. She's written a bunch of them through the lens of autism. She wrote one about when we didn't know about autism that you guys really enjoyed. Go check those out. Check out a bunch of hers. She does one piece a month. And then, of course, there's Asking Spectrum Women by moi. Once a month, I hop on to the Spectrum Women YouTube and I answer your questions with my answers in hopes to give you guys some advice and some help through things you might be stuck with. So the August issue is going to be, or the August installment, I'll be recording that in the next week or so. I'm still open for questions. If you have questions you'd like me to answer for Asking Spectrum Women, you can email them to me at info@beccalaurie.com and just let me know it's a question for Asking Spectrum Women. It's essentially just a Q&A, your questions, my answers, once a month under Asking Spectrum Women. So you can find that on the page. And lastly, the other offering of Spectrum Women magazine that I think is worth knowing about is the Mentors program. So you can book mentoring appointments with the Spectrum Women, myself included, right through the website. Get in touch with us if you are looking for a mentor. So my highlight this week, I guess I'm highlighting a website / blog organization. I don't know what else to call it. This week, Spectrum Women magazine. Next week, who knows? So go check out Spectrum Women magazine. I'm sure you will enjoy the stuff that you find there. If you don't, feel free to let me know in the comments. But I think that you will. Alrighty. That's my website of the week. And I'm going to move along. Oh, where is she going? What things are happening? Ooh. Books. Let's see. Oh, books. Can you see them all? All the books. All the books. All right, this is my pile of books to be read. They are autism books. You guys want reviews. I want to read them. So I think what I'm going to do is, since I read fast, but not that fast, and I have to read so much all of the time, I don't have, I don't get through books as fast as I would like to. So I'm not going to be able to do a review every week. I'll probably be able to do a personal review on a book once a month. So I'm going to need you guys to help me pick the first book. And in the meantime, while you're waiting for me to get to a review on a book, I will try to at least highlight 1 or 2 books for you that I think are worth reading. I won't do a full review on, but I at least want you to know they're out and about, whether they're new or old. But I'll highlight a few. Ooh, wow. I will highlight a few books every week, and then once a month I will do a review. So before I get to my recommendation, I'm going to show you my choices for books that I would like to read. Books that I would like to read this month. And you can pick one of these 3 books. We talked about this one, why am I so bad at this thing? How do other people do this? Well, there you go. All right, so I have to get better at this, you guys. Janera Nierenberg, Thriving in a World That Wasn't Designed for You. It's called Divergent Mind. Really looking forward to reading it. So I hope that this might be one that you will pick. This is book number 1. Book number 2. Nope, not going to do it. I can't do it, you guys. Oh, they're better? Okay. Trauma, Stigma, and Autism. That's the next one up. So that's the next on the list if you think I should read this one. And your final option is Disability Visibility by Alice Wong. I am so excited for this one too. Pick this one. This is the one. Pick this one. Pick this one. Okay. Anyway, I am going to list the 3 books in the description. Please let me know if there's one you have a preference for me to do a full review on, because those I will read. In the meantime, while we wait for all of that fun stuff, let me share with you my book of this week. This is an older book, and I recommend it all the time. There we go. I Think I Might Be Autistic. Cynthia Kim. I Think I Might Be Autistic. Little tiny book. Do you see how thin it is? It's a really thin, easy read. But I can't even tell you how much I recommend it. Super simple, right? And the purpose of it, it says on the front, it's a guide to autism spectrum disorder diagnosis and self-discovery for adults. So a lot of the time, right, you guys, a lot of the time, people question whether they're autistic, and then they may or may not seek a diagnosis. But when you want to seek a diagnosis, where do you look to kind of anticipate and know what to expect in your diagnosis? Well, you either ask someone who's already been through it, or you pick up Cynthia Kim's book, I Think I Might Be Autistic. This little read will walk you through the process, and it will also help you answer that question for yourself before you get to an eval. I read this book well after I was diagnosed, but man, when I read it, I thought, geez, I wish I had read it then. I wished for it to be in existence then, and since then, and since it wasn't, I now recommend it wholly and freely all over the place. It's a little thin book. It's an easy carry, easy read. You'll get through it fast, but it will help you through the diagnostic process. I promise. So that's my book for this week. I'll also put an Amazon link to that in the description. And that's books. We move on. No, sun just came out and now I'm all like whited out. Do you guys see that? It's terrible. And that's why I keep playing with the camera. I'll just keep going. Maybe a cloud will come by. I'll continue. Podcasts. We're moving on to podcasts. I listen and watch a lot of podcasts. I get interviewed on even more podcasts than I listen to. So I've got quite a few podcasts I can recommend. So this week I am going to be highlighting Autism Stories. I myself have been on Autism Stories 3 times. 1, 2, 3 times with Doug Blecher, who is the host of Autism Stories. He also runs a website called Autism Personal Coach, where he does some coaching with other autistic adults. And in the meantime, in his spare time, he records Autism Stories, where he talks to autistic adults about what they're up to and what they're into. He's most recently had fellow newsie Miriam Sachs was just on Autism Stories. I've been on 3 times. Haley Moss has been on. Kelly Brown Johnson. Who else? A bunch of people. A lot of people have been on Autism Stories. It's a great podcast, and one of my favorite things about it is Doug's ability to ask amazing questions. He literally asks the best questions of any questions I get asked in any interview. He spends time thinking about them and doing his research, and he tries to ask questions that everybody else doesn't ask. So it's nice, and the conversations are fun. And so I recommend Autism Stories to you guys. I will give you a link to that as well as to Autism Personal Coach in the description. But I highly recommend that you head over to wherever you listen to podcasts and start listening to Autism Stories, hosted by Doug Blecher. It's a really, really good one. And I really like his choice of guests as well as his questions. So that's my podcast for the week. Maybe I'll do 2 podcasts a week. I don't know. I'm going to be playing with this for a little while, you guys. Bear with me. But I'm liking so far this new setup. I like the things that I'm getting to talk about. So maybe I'm onto something. I hope. Okay. Last thing that we're going to talk about today on Neurodiversity Newsstand are events, ongoing events in our community that may or may not be free, may or may not be virtual, but it's going on and it might be going on near you. So I try to share those big events with you guys. If you have an event going on and you would like me to share it on Newsstand, please email me at info@beccalaurie.com. I would like to share as many events as possible with you folks every week, especially since so many of them are now less expensive and are virtual. It's very much in our favor. Okay, anyway. 2 events I'm pointing out to you this week. First of all, on 7/25, which is Saturday, there is going to be an online book event for Disability Visibility Project by Alice Wong. So if you'd like to catch Alice at her online book event, you sure can. It's going to be free on Saturday from 4 p.m. to 5:15 p.m. Pacific time. So you'll have to do that math for yourself, but I'll give you a link to register. Registration is free for this event. Last event I want to share with you is actually really far out. It's not until September. It feels like it's far out, but I guess it's not that far out. The Seaver Autism Center in New York annually, does a conference called Advancing Autism. It's the Advancing Autism Conference. And this year's conference theme is profound autism. I'm going to have to gather that they mean folks with high support needs, those who are very externally challenged, and that's what they mean by profound autism, but it's not a term that I really use. So that is the theme for this year's conference, and that's going to be on September 17th. I didn't go far into registration to see how much, but I wanted to make sure to share it with you guys because this year it's going to be virtual. That's right. You won't have to fly to New York to see this conference. So if it's something you're interested in, if you're interested in research on folks for folks that have high support needs, please go and check out this event. I will put it in the description. And that's it, you guys. That is the new Neurodiversity Newsstand. Some books, some events, some podcasts, a little bit of news, not too much, and me, still me. Okay, so that's my attempt at sort of revamping, repivoting for COVID here with Newsstand. Let me know what you think. Send me books, send me podcasts, email me all over the place. info@beccalaurie.com. I want to share the stuff that you are doing. I want to share it in Newsstand the groups, and I want to share it here on Newsstand the vlog. So please make sure you get in touch with me. As usual, I'm going to be just reminding you guys that I am still offering Self-Defined Living, a Path to a Quality Autistic Life, which is my 3-unit virtual personal development course. Unit 2 comes out August 5th. If you missed Unit 1, you can still register for Unit 2 and catch up on Unit 1 with the replay, which is available now. If you're interested in scholarship seats for that or for Unit 3, please go ahead and email me at info@beccalaurie.com. I have a few more seats to give away, and if you need them, I would like to give them to you. Let's see what else. Oh, if you want a discount on the course, or if you just want more from me, you can go over to my website at beccalaurie.com, sign up for my newsletter. The newsletter will be going out in the first week of August, and it will have a discount to my courses in there that is exclusive to the newsletter only. So please go over to my website, look for it in the sidebar, and sign up for monthly musings. Last up, of course, just a reminder, I'll be recording Asking Spectrum Women this week. If you have any questions for me for that, please go ahead and email them to me at info@beccalaurie.com. What else? Oh, I did do a podcast. Ellie Walsh has a new podcast called Autism in Real Life. I did an interview with her, and I loved it. I had a great time, and I will share that with you in the description as well, in case you want to hear that interview. And that's it for me, you guys. I am taking off Real Friday. This is Thursday, but your Friday. And so happy Friday to you guys. Happy Thursday to me. Happy weekend to everybody. Do something fun with your weekend. Do some self-care, whether that's take a nap, read a book, or go for a hike. But whatever you do, make sure you create and share joy. I will see you guys next week on Tuesday. I will be live right here on this channel with Becca's Backyard Live. And then, of course, I will be back next Friday with this new revamped Neurodiversity Newsstand. Have a good one, you guys. I'm Becca Laurie Hector, and I'll see you next week. Bye.